All right, welcome back. Tell you that was a fun break. We're now going to basically plow through. There's at least one more Excel module I'd like to do with you guys. I'm thinking of either doing another one after this or just my own take on it. And then after that, we're going to head on to Excel, not Excel, excuse me, we're in Excel. We're going to head on to Access, and which should be the great climax of your database experience in this course and set you up for success with the other stuff. I will say again, like everything I'm trying to do here is meant not just for the course or even your actual program, but all this stuff is great for effectively the rest of your life. You could, wedding planning, meal prep, whatever. This should be a pretty good deal. So here we go. What I'm going to do is we're going to go through this. I kind of like what I've done already now a few times, where I basically just go through the book, and I still would like you to go through the book on your own, but it gives me a chance to sort of make sure that I'm actually teaching you guys what you actually need to know. So in this case, for example, we're going to be recreating this spreadsheet. What's cool about this spreadsheet is that it's accenting. Along with the various formatting things, we're gonna, do some goofy things with headers here. You already probably know. Hopefully you feel comfortable about totals and things, but we'll be reintroducing some of that. Hey, look, we got charts. Hey, look, we got other things going on. It's going to be just a riot. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to head create this, and then you guys have seen the beginnings of a chart, but now you get to basically go and see even more of that chart. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing. So the first thing it's going to get us to do is create a new spreadsheet. Lucky for us, I actually have a new spreadsheet sitting right here. And what I'm going to do now is probably, yeah, actually, I can do that, right? Boom, there it is. So I'm going to go ahead, and some of this stuff is going to be boring as all get out, but let's just get this. We got to get some of this stuff in here. What I would do if I was doing this is I basically copy it, go to the cell, but if I just paste it, it's going to be orange and gross. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it up in the text like that. All right. So that's what I'm going to do. And we're going to do the same thing with A2. If you want to save time in your lives, you can do this with me, pausing, totally cool. If we were in the classroom, this is what I'd be doing. All right, let's get rid of that. So it also says to apply the organic theme to the workbook. So I have to admit, when I saw it again, it's like, oh, how would I do that? Well, here's the cool part, right? So if you go up to your help, you can actually tend to find everything you need there if you at least know what the magic word is. The magic word was theme, and then there's organic. So that's basically how I'm going to apply it to the whole workbook. The theme is probably, it's got the colors in, it's got the fonts and styles and all that. So now this guy is going to be Garamond instead of probably Arial or whatever it would have been. All right, read some of the stuff there. We're going to go next. All right, rotating text. So here's where we're going to get that wonderful sort of sideways look at the year. All right. So why would you rotate text? Sometimes, like, we're not going to rotate this, but sometimes you don't want your text all being horizontal because it basically takes up way too much space for your average reader. So sometimes you want to just shift it a little bit diagonal, and that's kind of what we're going to be doing here. What we're going to do here is we're going to take our 2006 year. All right, we're going to take our 2006 year. First thing we're going to do is plot that stuff into B3. So there's B3, 2006, 26. Oh my goodness, I didn't even do it. Let's do it again. 2026. I was wondering why I was bothering to copy paste that. Anyway, so here it is. This is the number. It is now currently horizontal. Well, what I can do to get it to be not horizontal, and I think, yeah, they're saying here to go into the alignment thing and click on some stuff. You, yeah, you could do that. I think another option is just to go right click and format cells, right? And then go from there to alignment. That's how I do it. It's cool. Either way, you do what the book says, you do what I do. Now, right now, it's currently set at 0 degrees. It specifically wants us to be at, are you saying what it is? Yes, 60. So you could try and scroll this thing up until it says 60. You are free to do that. Look at, I actually did it. Way to go. Or the other option is just simply to type 60 in that degrees text box. All right. Anything else you want me to do? Nope. I'm going to click on OK, and there it is. All right, cool. Now, I don't expect you to remember what the actual finished report looks like, but it does go beyond 2026. As you might anticipate, we're going to get a bunch of dates here. So we're going to pay very close attention to what it's doing on the next. The next guy is basically saying, hey, what we want to do is use a series rather than type 2027, 2028, 2029. We're going to use a series to accomplish this. So, where am I going to? I'm going to, looks like I'm going to F, right? You probably said that in here somewhere. Yeah, to F. All right. So click on the data that you want. There's your handle. If I scroll over, so I've left clicked and I've held my left click down. I'm moving over and I just let go now. That's not what I want, right? I've got 2026, 2026, 2026. So to undo, Control Z or Z, as I want to actually say, that would be the way to sort of undo that. So let's try that again. Go, 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 but not be in quite the hurry to let go and not see this. The next couple pages are all kind of about this idea of what you can do with autofill. And autofill has this beautiful deal of fill series. And so if I do this, it's going to make the assumption I would like to increase B3 by 1 for every cell. I didn't know this existed, but I looked at the textbook, so I'm pretty happy with this. It's going to make my life easier. I clicked OK. Now it's got 2027, 2028, 2029, and 30. Awesome. And I think that's about all this guy wanted to say. Oh, nope, not quite. We got two more. We got to put in total and chart. So I'm going to type these in. That's why I copy paste. Total and chart. All right. Now, they are not in diagonal at all, right? I could, in theory, just do what I did before, where I kind of right click and pick it, but that wouldn't be any fun, right? What I could do instead, and I think, yep, this is what it's going to do. We're going to click on this on a cell of the format that we want, bring it over, go over to the handle. I click on this button, and that's a quick analysis. That's not what I actually wanted, so let's try it again. I thought for sure you do this right. You weren't gonna. Nope, you're gonna do that. Okay, how about if I did this? Nope. Okay, how about if I did this? Now in a minute, I'm just gonna get mad and do it the way that I want to do it. Nope, that's not helpful. Okay, you know what? Forget it then. I know when I usually go through this just before I try to record, and everything works this great, but it didn't, and I don't want to waste everybody's time trying to figure that out. Yeah, see, look at select F3, drag lower handle, and release the mouse button. Hmm. Well, anyway, there you go. Next. So, it talks more about how the autofill works. So, one is a straight copy, which is what it did. We went to fill series, which was this. What I was hoping to show you was fill formatting only, in which case it's going to take the formatting of the cell on the left and apply it to the cells on the right. And then there's some other ones over here. Okay, cool. Next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting in some data, and it's sort of not this data. This is again talking about sort of what some of the extensions would be. But the next thing we want to do, oh, sorry, no, next thing we want to do is increase column widths. All right, good deal. So here with a column width, they're going to get us to basically increase A, because currently A is only this wide, and yet we have data this wide. Now, we've done this already. The book's going to basically say, hey, increase this to, be that exact digits or whatever. I'm going to say another option, and let's just go back. Another option I would do is just click on it and then bring your mouse over till you see the two arrows where you're in that wonderful space between the two rows. And if you just double click on it, it'll do that for you too. All right. So that's how I would have done that. And then these guys here, they want us to also increase, probably because we're going to be putting some numbers in. And so we do that. Again, you wait until it's about the what they call the split double arrow pointer, and it looks like we want to get that to be about 15.25. So I'm going to move that to be about 15.25 or close enough. Again, in your homework, as long as you're close, it doesn't matter. All right. The rest now is going to be a crap ton of data entry. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to put just the text in and then resume the video, and then I'll start talking about indenting. All right, I saved you guys some remarkably monotonous typing and copy pasting. So here I've just entered in all that text. So basically what you're seeing from A4 to A19 is what you're basically seeing here. Now, one key thing, and I made this mistake the first time, so I kind of deliberately did it this time, is I noticed that percent should be in A20, and yet, oh no, here it is in A19. What did I mess up? Well, I would kind of go backwards. Gross margin is also in the wrong cell. Total cost sold is in the total cost is right. So this is right. This needs to be down one. Remember, you can click on the row, left click on the row, right click, and you go insert and it'll insert. Now, in a few minutes, we're actually going to hit this topic again, but this is basically how to insert an entire row at once, and that basically makes that cool. All right, so on the next bit now is we got to talk about indenting, because notice that average daily rate is indented, but it's not indented here. Well, what you do for that is we're going to say we're going to click on A6, and we're going to go up to oh my God, the alignment. Thank you. My ribbon, by the way, remember, that's what this is called. My ribbon is compressed because I want to have the textbook alongside me. So normally it's just right up here. But anyway, here's an indent button. Boom, they're indented. Next guys are supposed to be, again, A9 to A12, which is these guys. They are all part of the other revenue. I go indent and then cost of goods sold. What's the cost of goods sold? Well, apparently it's the cost of food and cost of labor. Boom. Done. All right. So I think that is cool. And again, there's other ways to have done that as well. Like, yeah, there's other ways to have done that. All right. Next. All right. So it's saying copying a range of cells to a non-adjacent destination area. So in that report, what they actually had was way over on the right-hand side of the spreadsheet. They had a list of sort of basically these titles, but um, summarized data. That's, I guess, what I'd say. It was summarized data. So what we want to do now is we want to basically have that summarized data for us. And so you can kind of see the starting it right there. Right. So if you look, it says, boy, hotel assumptions, and then they're getting ready for inserting data. So let's just do that. So we're going to have to move this sheet over to J. And boy, sometimes I wonder if I would have gone top and bottom. I might try that when I do the next video. Anyway, so in J3, I'm going to type in hotel assumptions. All right. And again, this is why I favor the copy paste method, hotel assumptions. And then it says select ranges A9 to A11 and then copy, right? So this is another kind of key lesson here. I'm going to go copy. Now notice again, it's got the little a visual aid to let us know it's being copied. Now, if I just go over here and I go paste, what actually is it going to paste? Right? So with Excel, it um we might actually just get lucky and it'll actually paste it. But what you want to kind of do is look at this and say, and this is what they're trying to say here, right? You're going to basically say in the paste button, you want to paste values formulas, right? So you're telling me to paste what? Yeah, paste options. So which one did you want me to do here? Okay, because here's the thing. You know what? Let's just do it. I'm gonna go paste it. All right, perfect. Just you want to be careful when it's data and there's formulas behind the data that are all sort of relationally dependent, and we'll talk about that later. But we even sort of encountered that in some of the previous spreadsheets. All right, so we got our pasties in there. We want to, it says decrease the indentation. Yeah, so we're going to decrease the indentation. Boom, done. All right, next. Sure. Okay, they're talking about the various paste options. So paste is going to paste the contents and the format of the source data. Formulas will just paste the formulas. Formulas and numbering formatting, that would actually paste the formulas and the numbering formatting. So you know what? why don't we just do this for a minute? I'm going to basically do some quick calculations. We're going to go one, two, and this is going to be equal to the sum of these two cells. Okay, so that's going to be equal to 3. Not a big deal, right? Now I'm going to go copy, and we're going to go paste. Why is that 5? I'm going to go copy, and I'm going to go paste. Why is that 8? So what's going on here is that this number is the sum of these two. This number, notice, is now moving along. It's taking a sum of these two. So in the G column, it was the sum of these. I copied G into H. In the H column, these are the sums of these. So see how it's moved over. In the I column, these are the sums of these. For those of you in the math thing, it's sort of the Fibonacci sequence. But basically, it's copying the formula, right? Now, if I didn't want that, so let's just imagine I'm going to do this. Copy, oops, don't copy the blank ones. Copy and go paste. Now, another option is to go copy, and in here, I can just say, hey, can you just paste the number, please? Now it's just pasting the number, right? And that would be the same here. If I basically go and paste the number, it's just going to paste the number. And that's sort of what you want to think about here. Some of this other stuff is like formatting and things, but just be wary that when you're copying cells with which are actual formulas, the formulas will start to move depending on where the cell actually is. So here's a good example too. If I go copy and I paste over here, why is it 0? It's 0 because it's trying to add these two numbers. All right. That was a lot of fun with copy paste. Done. Let's have a look at this guy. Drag and drop. Okay, so moving or copying. It says contrary to common belief, copy and they're not the same. Of course, they're not the same. If you click on this guy and you move it, he's moved, right? I'm going to undo. If you copy it, now he exists in two spots. All right. I would also think that when you're moving the data around, the little formula that I just did, so I want one, two, sum of these two. It's interesting when you move it, it retains the addresses of the cells that the formula is dependent on, right? When you copy it, as I just demonstrated, it does not. It does not lock in. There is a way to lock it, and I think that's coming up in a future lecture. I won't let you guys leave Excel without knowing that. Okay, cut and paste. Great. Let's move down to inserting and deleting cells in a worksheet. So I've shown you now how to insert and delete rows, but what it's saying is, oh no, we have to put a cell in front or on top of restaurants. Now, if you go ahead and you do this and you right click and you go insert, you're going to cause a problem over here because you're going to end up dropping the entire row. Of course, you don't want to do that. In this case, what you want to do is you want to right click on restaurants. You want to go insert, and then you got some choices. If you insert a cell, it can either pump it to the right or pump it down, or insert a row, which is what I've been doing for a long time, or it'll insert a column. Right, so we're going to basically just insert, we're going to shift all the cells down. At this point now, restaurant has moved onto the fifth row, and thankfully our first row is untouched. All right, so that's cool with that. We move down. I think they want me to do that a few times, so that's what that is. And so what they're going to basically say here is do it like 2 more times. You could do it 2 more times if you want. Another option is if you know that you're going to basically bump it down, so there's basically 3 on top of restaurants, right click, insert. I just noticed I've highlighted 2, and so now it pumps it down. All right. So if you're in a scenario that you got to drop these things like 10 down, I don't want you going right click, go, right click, go, right click, go. You just highlight whatever your gap is, and then you can insert, and it'll basically insert that many cells on top. All right. Am I going to save you the data entry? Probably not. In this case, I'm going to type it all. So here's rooms occupancy rate. I should have saved you it. Oh, come on. Rate. This one is room rate. And then underneath the events, we've got expenses. And then underneath this is bonuses. Cool. All right. Did you want any indenting or anything? No. All right. Next. All right. Inserting rows and columns. I've showed that. So we're off on that one. Deleting rows and columns. I've showed that. I actually, it's a really good point though. Let's do my little formula again. Here's one, two, and here's going to be the sum of one and two, or two and three. Anyway, so watch what happens if I go and I delete this. It's made it kind of zero. Great. Now let's go ahead and undo that. If I right click this guy, and I go delete, I'm just going to delete the the cell, and then these two guys will in theory move to the left. If I do this, oh, worked just great too. All right. Well, what I was trying to do, and I'm sure at some point you'll encounter, is sometimes when you're moving stuff around, you end up blowing up your formula, right? So so be careful of that. I guess maybe you know why, I don't know why that didn't work. One, two. We're gonna go equals this cell plus this cell. So I'm not using a function. All right, so now if I do that, so this guy is equal to this cell plus this cell. I'm going to make this cell not exist. It's very brave, Grant, to be doing this while you're recording, but that's fine. Let's just do it anyway. So I'm going to shift the cells left. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. So the sum was smart enough to more or less, it's a function, right? So it was smart enough to know, oh, that cell doesn't exist. That's fine. And it was effectively summing one cell. In this case, the formula is literally trying to find that missing cell, and it kind of blows up with this reference error. And you also get a little bit of a message here too. All right. So just be careful when you're moving some stuff around. That's kind of what I wanted to say there. All right. Next, we got to put some numbers in. Okay. So the numbers are going to be, some of them are just straight numbers, which is nice. Like, for example, rooms is going to be 60. But you'll notice that as we go on to the other guys, there's like 5%, 3.5%. There's some money at the bottom. What we're going to do here is you can't just go five and then make that a percent. If you go five and you make that a percent, what's going to happen? Oh, okay, it looks like it knows. No, it doesn't know. Okay, 5%. That's going to be 500%. So one option is to go 0.05. Okay, and apparently I did do that right. So let's do it again, 0.05, right? And that's basically 5%. Another option would be to go, yeah, I think that's it. 0.035, 0.1 is 10%, 0.08 is 8%, 8. 0.15 is the 15%, 0.4 is the 4%, and this guy's going to be 50,000. Cool. So I've already got this as a percent. I could do the clipboard copy, sorry, the pasting tool and do that. Another option, obviously, is just to click on the thing and say, I'd like to have a percent. Now, I think, yeah, they're all about two decimal spots. So highlight them all, go to number, and you can pump out your decimal spots. This guy, we want it to be money, number, money, or currency. So we got that done, and we're good to go there. Next, I'm going to put some numbers into here on this side of the spreadsheet. So we're going to go to the left. These guys, occupancy rate. So we just learned if it goes 0.4, that's going to be a percentage. We go down to the average daily rate, which is 135. I'm assuming that's money, but they don't want money in there. The restaurant is going to be 105. I could I could do this. I could do that, and it's actually smart enough if I want. I was going to basically remind you that you can, of course, format this, but if you're just typing it in, you may as well just do that. So that being the commas, I'm putting commas in there. Okay, and 38, 30, 38. And then this is going to be 41. All right, cool. So we got our stuff in there. our next bit. All right, so we're going to now basically put a date and time on to the spreadsheet. So it will always tell us what is the date and time, or actually, well, we're going towards date, but what is the date on the spreadsheet? It's actually using another function. So far, I've kind of been showing you the sum function. There's also a now function. And this is kind of, I think, a pretty key moment. So you should definitely be paying attention to this. So find the cell. So we're going to put it in G. We're going to put it in G. Cool. And it's basically saying here you could click on this function selector. So if you click on the function selector, I've already just picked now because I just went through this whole thing. But remember, if you don't find it, you can scroll down or you can go ahead and start looking for, like we want to put in the spreadsheet for now, sorry, the function for now. So this is a date time. And then down here, there's a guy that says now, which you get some nice little help. Returns the current date and time formatted as date and time. So we're going to go OK. It says, okay, great, it's getting ready. I'm going to go okay. And now I've got the date and time. Now, that's cool, and that's what all this is. But notice that the format is basically a two-digit month, a two-digit date, four-digit year, two, well, two-digit. I guess this is H basically means it's going to be what we consider like the 12-hour time. I believe HH or something like that would give us 24-hour time. So for you militant types, that would be the good one there. And then minutes. Now, if you don't like this, you can always go back and format these. We've spent some time formatting numbers, but it is possible, even though it's in number, which is ridiculous, you can format a date format, right? And I think they explicitly state that they want us to pick this one. This is the hardest part, by the way, of the textbook is finding out what explicitly they want. But they want that one. We're going to go OK. And so now it's giving me basically the date format that they actually wanted. Okay, and that's what the rest of this is. And that will be a good time to stop the video. So when we resume, we're going to finish off the spreadsheet.